Subscribe or they will haunt you. Dark web users of Reddit, was there ever a point in your use that you felt you were genuinely in danger? What happened? I once bought a bit of weed, and I received a blackmail letter threatening me with awful things, like sending CP and calling the police if I didn't send one BTC, $1,000 at the time. I was scared shitless, but nothing ever happened. Always check the reviews before buying anything. In college, some friends and I ordered a 100 sheet of acid using Bitcoin to our college PO boxes. We got pretty terrified when it didn't arrive when it should. We thought it was found by USPS, our own mail service, or the D. We were paranoid. Turns out they just shipped it later than they said. We got our 100 tabs, but that was a very stressful week and a half for all of us. A friend of mine used to use Silk Road on the darknet when Bitcoin was $10 a pop. He placed at least 100 orders through it and never had any issues. It's a shame he didn't keep all the Bitcoin he bought, because he would have been a millionaire now. Had a buddy who used to order weed. The distributor got busted, and the postal service let him know there was a suspicious package for him. He could either pick it up, or it would be destroyed. Everything feels government owned. I used to frequent drug sites. They would go down for weeks at a time, then pop up again, have weird prices. Sellers were different. It made the dark web feel like a labyrinth more than a ruleless wasteland. Came across a chat style site. Every post was about trains. Would say I felt in danger, but I felt so out of the loop that I was missing something that I just got off. Accidentally stumbled upon some CP once. Noped out pretty fast, but was still worried for weeks the FBI would come after me. Not the modern dark web, but back in the days of Usenet I posted some harsh criticism in alt.religion.Scientology. Yes, that was a typo for Scientology, but I'm leaving it for context of a bunch of posts. The online threats were funny, but when I started getting death threats by mail I backed the f*** off. Drugs seized. Paranoid months. Nothing happened. There's hitmen, human trafficking and snuff films and such, but a vast majority of these sites are scams asking you to send them Bitcoin. A small portion of users on the dark web would be there for this sort of stuff. However, buying drugs online is quite popular and widespread. Single vendors can have $500,000 plus in lifetime sales. It's quite safe to use. You use PGP to encrypt your address so only the seller of the drugs has access to your private info. If your package is seized, have no proof you ordered it, unless they seize your computer and you have that information stored on it. You can use Tails/USB to avoid this. Even if your packages get seized, you'll often get a love letter saying what they seized, and there is no follow-up after that. Webcam turned itself on once. That was scary. I immediately unplugged it, and my network cable ran 3 complete scans of my system for malware and viruses. Found nothing. Hasn't happened since. I actually learned how to access the dark web by listening to NPR. They had a segment where an author who was writing a book about it basically gave step-by-step instructions on how to do it. I did everything he said, and, by golly, it worked. Truthfully, it was pretty underwhelming. Mostly just drugs and counterfeit items, passports, money, etc. I did find some weapons with the serial numbers scratched off, pistols and shotguns, but nothing that would start World War III. I also saw a couple ads for hitmen, but they seemed pretty hokey and were most likely undercover cops. I never felt in danger, but I have never gone back because there's nothing I really want from there. No government agents have kicked down my door either. Don't frequent it a lot, but once I accidentally left my browser in full screen and a stranger in a chat room asked me if my curved monitor was nice. Freaked me out a bit. Dark web ain't scary. I once bought a big crate of cup noodles for a cheap price. I've never personally felt I was in actual danger, so to speak, since I take proper precautions. but early on I did accidentally come across a site/forum while exploring that was filled with snuff photos of women people had assaulted and then knocked out or killed. Shut down my browser pretty quick after that, but felt uneasy for a long time after. You don't just stumble onto the scary parts of the dark web. You had to have been looking for something sinister if you happen to come across one of the sites. Even then, getting access to said sites isn't as easy as most of them are invite based. Most of it is just the normal internet with questionable forums. Think 4chan but slightly worse, and petty drugs. It's very hard to reach the criminal parts of the dark web unless you have very specific URLs. And even then the host has the option to deny you access. However, once you're in, it can become a slippery slope. The scariest moment for me was when I stumbled upon a creepy ARG and thought it was something much more sinister. Until I found out it was just an ARG. The dark web isn't really that scary. It has been romanticized and exaggerated by creepypastas, TV shows and etc. Edit. I know stuff like the Red Room and CP exist on the dark web, it's just that it is not that common. Most are scams or require a membership. The common user won't find much, but you will find something really off-putting if you dig enough. I was trying to buy those super cool laser pointers, and I got a random message saying I know where you live. I noped out of that site straight away. The idea that the dark web is an extremely shocking and dangerous place is largely inaccurate. It's mostly weird libertarian blogs and very sterile Amazon type websites for drugs, complete with reviews of different vendors. My friends and I were once ordering some green off the dark web. On the way, we saw a dude selling cyanide. Don't ask me how I got it, don't tell me what you'll use it for. Violation of either condition will void the sale. Not really a dark web user, but I got darksked by an Ianazi group on the dark web, and ended up having to use the dark web to find the websites that had my information. Department of Homeland Security and the FBI showed up on my doorstep because they were threatening to send me letter bombs and send people to abduct and r//me. It was scary shit. They all fell off the face of the earth recently, so I'm just hoping the feds got to them. Edit. I elaborated more in the comments. Feel free to ask questions, but I might not give too much more information out. I don't want to be identified by anyone who's come across my darksks or is associated with the group who did this in the first place. The only real difference between the internet you and I are using right now and the dark web is that you need special software or configurations to access it. You have plenty of opportunities of finding bad shit on the regular web. With that in mind, I'd say that the regular web is more dangerous since it lulls you into a sense of security. I mean, most people these days have a significant amount of their personal information on there. The dark web, you're likely going to have a sense to be more anonymous. Personally, I just used it for playing a WoW private server back in the day, since the hosts didn't want to get a C&D from Blizzard every time. Remember that the person you just bought drugs from knows your address, that you have drugs in your house. There's probably evidence of dark web use in your finances/computer/trash. They can rat you out with impunity just because they're feeling malevolent. They also could just get caught and be careless with destroying ex-customer information. So it hangs over my head to this day. So I had ordered many times on the dark web, but one day I decided to place a rather large order of ecstasy pills from Europe to the USA. I had a terrible feeling in my gut after the order was placed, and actually had some serious food poisoning or something that night, lol. Cut to weeks later, I ended up getting arrested for the pills, and enter in the worst time of my entire life.